Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I'm John Monsul, the host, the creator, and the producer of this program called Communicating Today. We've been on Channel 10 for a long, long time, over 15 years, well past 500 shows. In fact, we're one of the longest running programs right here on this Channel 10 Fairfax Cable TV here in Fairfax County. We've had many interesting shows for you in the past, and I know tonight will be absolutely no exception. And for those of you who watch us on a regular basis, and we hope there are legions of you who do, we come on 3 times every week, every Sunday afternoon at 3:30, every Wednesday evening in prime time at 8:30 p.m., and every Friday morning for you early birds at 6:30 a.m. And we have for us tonight something that should be a topic of a great deal of interest to all of us. I know myself personally, and a lot of you folks out there, about something to do with weight reduction, getting into shape, eating the right foods, eating nutritional foods, staying healthy, staying away from the doctor's office, all those wonderful things, kind of summarized up in 2 words, which is diet and exercise. And that sometimes a nasty word for some of us out there, but a very important word for our guest tonight, because our guest, who is sitting right alongside of me here, his name is Mr. Kevin Brown, and he is with an organization called Visionary Trainers Incorporated. So he's in the exercise, he's in the nutritional health business, and he comes from northern New Jersey. He came all the way down here to see us today and to be on our program. We thank you very much, Kevin, for doing that. Welcome to our show.
Thank you so much.
Let me tell you a little something about Kevin. Kevin Brown is president of Visionary Trainers, as I mentioned, Incorporated, one of the largest personal training companies in the Northeast, as well as LiberationFitness.com, an interactive online fitness program which makes personal training affordable for everyone. He serves as a fellow on the National Board of Fitness Examiners and is an AFAA certified fitness trainer. And we'll find out what AFAA means in a second, Kevin. Weightlifting specialist and nutritional counselor. This book that we're going to be talking about that he wrote just very recently was co-authored by another person by the name of Annette Presley, who is a nutritionist, graduated from the prestigious California State University in Los Angeles, and she has her own personal weight loss and wellness counseling program in California, Texas, and other locations. Kevin and Annette, his co-author, are both chapter leaders of the Weston Price Foundation, the leading nutrition nonprofit whose leaders promote whole foods from local small farm sources, strong advocates of real farm fresh food for optimal health. So that's by way of introduction of my guest for tonight, Kevin Brown. Kevin, again, thank you so much for coming all the way down from North Jersey, out near New York, I guess.
Yeah, that's where I was this morning. Actually, we are in the Metro Philadelphia area is where I live, down in South Jersey. But our client base really runs from New York down into the northern Maryland region.
How long did it take you to drive down?
It took me about 3 hours and 10 minutes.
You came down around midday when there wasn't very much traffic, I guess, right?
Yes.
Ordinarily, if you came down early in the morning or late in the evening when everybody's coming home from work,
yes,
it'd take you twice as long probably to come down.
It was the fastest ride. I was so anticipating getting to see you.
Well, it's so nice to have you here, and we're talking about a subject which should be near and dear to all of our hearts, and that certainly is nutrition, staying in shape, good health, exercise.
Yes.
A lot of folks don't like that word. That's kind of a nasty connotation, exercise. You know, doing those push-ups and those sit-ups and those side benders and all the rest of them.
Right.
But that's what you're all about, and that's why you look like you're in terrific shape, Kevin, I must admit.
For 86, I look pretty good.
A little better shape than I'm in, that's for sure. I think I need your service here, that's for sure. But let's start right out. Why is this diet, and I know you have a name to your diet too, by the way. You call it the Liberation Diet, is that right?
That's right.
Liberation Diet.
Yes.
Okay. Why is your diet so different and so unique to begin with?
Well, as a personal trainer, and I've been a personal trainer for about 15 years, I'm in the wellness and health business. People hire me, they pay me a good bit of money to get them thin and healthy. And so I need to get results. And one of the things I discovered early on was that a lot of the nutrition information that I was using, the protocols that we were taught, were not really very effective. Part of the reason why our country has a obesity problem is because there's so much confusion in the marketplace about all these crazy fad diets. And so I went sort of back to history to find out what was the proper way to eat, because I did realize that 50, 100 years ago, our nation wasn't overweight. We didn't have this obesity crisis. So something changed. And as I did this research and developed the program with my clients, I was able to get astounding results. And so we've helped many, many people with our diet and exercise program actually get healthy, get thin, and stay that way. So the outcry of that was that we needed to write a book so that we could reach more people in America with this kind of basic information it's been sort of forgotten, but it really is just old-time information about nutrition and health.
Wonderful. For you folks watching our program at home, we're going to be putting up Kevin Brown's website frequently during the course of our 30-minute program. It'll be down at the bottom of your screen. And in case you don't see it as we go along in the program, it's going to be www.liberationdiet.com, which is the name of his book and the name of his diet, liberationdiet.com. And that'll tell you all about, Kevin, if I'm not mistaken, where they can find the book, where they can purchase it.
Yes.
I guess it's in a number of different bookstores around the country and so forth.
It's on Amazon.com.
Okay.
And on liberationdiet.com. Currently, it's only been out a few weeks, so it actually isn't available in bookstores yet, online only.
Uh-huh. Why? Everybody talks about this nasty word. I used the other nasty word before about exercise, which some people don't seem to adhere to too readily, but there's another word called obese.
Right.
And you just mentioned that word a few minutes ago, and it seems like the whole country is becoming more obese.
Yes.
There's a terrible obesity problem, people being way overweight, not just a little bit, but, well, when you're overweight,
Right.
you're overweight is one thing.
Right.
When you're obese, you're way overweight. And not only adults, but also kids, too. And what's going on in the country today that's causing all this stuff?
Well, this is a big, big problem, and everybody has heard about the obesity epidemic in the United States, but 70% of America is overweight or
70%.
obese. Overweight or obese. That means there's only 30% of the country left that had normal weight. So this is unacceptable. This is an outrage, and it's far too big to be just squandered at or looked at like it's some little problem. Well, it's okay to be a little overweight. The whole country is in a terrible situation, and so we need to take this very seriously. Obesity, even among children, is 32% of children are obese or overweight. And children with their high metabolism really almost should never be overweight. When you were a young man in school, I assume, like I was, and you had 3 or 4 or 5 grades of children, you had 1 or 2 children that were overweight. And now it's very common to see children overweight. So there's a real sort of fundamental problem going on here.
There's a certain amount of lack of activity among the kids. I guess a lot of these kids nowadays, they sit in front of the television set and they play all these video games, you know, and they pull all these buttons and levers and what have you. And they sit back, they call them couch potatoes, like they call the adults the same thing, of course, and they sit back and eat all these snacks.
Right.
Snack food, they continue to snack, and they sit there and they play games, and they don't get out in the fresh air. They don't get out in the sunshine, which is good for vitamin D. I know you'll mention that as we go along. And I guess this is part of the problem, is our lifestyle has changed quite a bit. Now we're so sedentary that we never were before as much as we are nowadays. I guess that's part of it.
That is part of the problem, and you know, no doubt. But the automobile's been around for almost 100 years, and people worked in offices and factories back in the 1910s and 1920s, and we still didn't have the obesity we have today. So exercise is part of it, but it's not the whole issue, I don't believe. I think it's just a small part of it, because a lot of people go to gyms and a lot of people try to exercise. And I myself, working with clients, we would exercise 3, 4, 5 times a week, and they still wouldn't lose weight. Because with bad diet, exercise doesn't fix the problem. So you really need to deal with both the diet and exercise issue.
And even if you don't go through the very strenuous types of exercises, like most people fear, like doing push-ups or pull-ups or chin-ups or sit-ups or what have you, I think, isn't it true that if you just get out and maybe take a walk, you know, walk a mile or 2 a day, let's say at say a moderate pace, breathe in the fresh air, get some of the sunshine coming down on you for the vitamin D, and that way you lose a pound or 2 every so often with this, you know, continued walking and so forth. You don't have to run a marathon. You don't have to be a long distance runner or anything of that sort.
Exactly.
But that's
exactly the case. When our clients eat properly and do moderate exercise, they get stunning results. And so you don't have to work out like Jack LaLanne or work out in extreme cases, especially people over 50, 60 years old. They're not going to be doing these crazy extreme exercises. And you know, a person will call me on the phone, they'll say, Kevin, I need to lose 50 pounds. And I'll say, well, are you looking to improve your diet as well? Because they want me to help them exercise. And they say, no, I eat fine, I just need a little exercise. Well, they think in their mind that it's all the exercise when they're certainly not eating right. And just what they're looking for is the magic exercise. I'm going to give them some special push-up that's going to take all their weight off of them. And in fact, that's not really the situation. It's moderate exercise balanced with real good food.
Exactly right. Now, a lot of people say, well, if I don't exercise quite so much and if I don't eat the most nutritious types of foods and have the best diet that I should have, and certainly things that you very strongly recommend, then what I'm going to do is just go to the drugstore, go to the nutrition store, and I'm going to buy a bottle of multiple vitamins where I can just pop a pill in my mouth every morning with a glass of water, and it's got all my minimum daily requirements, all my vitamins A, B, C, D, E, and so forth, and all my minerals. And I can cut back on the exercising. I don't have to worry about eating the good foods. And I get all my stuff through a bottle, through a prescription at the local dietary store, the drugstore.
Right.
What about supplements?
Well,
taking the place of the real thing.
Yeah, supplements in general is a big business. In America today, there's real food that's especially good farm fresh food. And then there's a lot of junk food. There's a lot of processed food. In the world of supplements, there's some whole food supplements, and there's a lot of junk supplements that are synthetic, and most of them are very profitable synthetic vitamins. Most of the multivitamin products out there on the market are really just junk food. They're really just synthetic vitamin A and synthetic vitamin D. Not really a good thing to be taken. It's certainly not a substitute for eating real food. Now, there is a place for taking supplements in the context of eating good food, because you want to sort of make sure that you're getting what you need in your diet. So I wouldn't say that I'm against vitamins, but most of the vitamins out there are pretty much not worth their
The pills
salt.
that come in a bottle. Now I know there's an acronym that you use quite frequently in your book, and it's called MSG. What does that stand for?
MSG is monosodium glutamate.
Okay.
And it's an additive that is put into food that does many things. It makes food taste good, for sure. It's a flavor enhancer, a powerful one. It's an excitotoxin. It excites your cells to the point that it actually destroys them. It makes food taste so exciting. And it actually empowers the junk food industry, because junk food is just that. It's just terrible chemicals in a can. But when you add MSG, it makes your tongue think that you're eating meat. And so you're eating these artificial foods in boxes and in cans, and it tastes pretty good to you. And so MSG also makes you hungry all the time. And so you eat it, and then you want to keep eating. So it's in almost all processed foods. That's why we advocate real food, because once you stop eating this to a high degree, you're not hungry all the time. But when you're eating food that is chemically designed to make you hungry all the time, you can't win. And that's why Liberation Diet is put out there, because it frees you to eat like a human being again.
So anytime, does this MSG, this monosodium and glutamate, does that show up on the bottles, on the labeling that you get on your containers and the boxes and cans and so forth?
It oftentimes does not.
Does not.
And there's two ways that they get around it. The food manufacturers there's about 50 different trade names that they use for it, like hydrolyzed protein and natural flavorings, spices. When you see that word spices, that could be MSG.
Yeah.
And then worse than that, MSG is a natural substance bound in a whole food. So when you process food like grains, for example, like cereals, the MSG is released through the processing. So it's not labeled on the box at all. So MSG is almost in everything that's in a box or in a can that's a processed food. And we're getting it so often. And that's why the children are getting obese. And that's why the adults are all wondering, why can't I work my way out of this? Because you have no chance as long as you are ingesting this on a regular basis.
Kevin, I just got the signal. We passed the midpoint in this program already. That's how fast, as I think I told you, this program moves very quickly.
Yes.
We have a policy of reintroducing the show. For those of you, ladies and gentlemen, camera number 3 over here, who may have tuned in a little bit late, I'm John Monsul, the host, the producer of this program called Communicating Today. We're talking about a very significant, very important subject called good health, staying away from the doctor's office. Good diet, exercise, staying in good shape, staying healthy, staying away from sickness and disease and what have you. And our guest that's telling us all about that, sitting right alongside of me here, he's Mr. Kevin Brown, who has written a wonderful book in cooperation with his co-author, Annette Presley, which is pictured right here on our stage. And we also putting a cover of the picture of his book up on our screen from time to time. And it's all about the right things you should be doing and staying away from doing the wrong things, getting into the wrong habits, how to lose weight, how to get back in shape again, and what have you, for you, not only for yourself, but for your loved ones, your family, your friends, and what have you. So we would like to go back to Kevin again, and Kevin, just kind of pick it up from there. I read through your book too, by the way, Kevin,
good.
and it's an exciting book. It's very easy reading. It flows, goes right along. It's 240 some pages or so, and it's very interesting. And you're really focused on this subject of how to stay healthy, how to lose a lot of weight. And some people don't have to lose a lot of weight. Some people might come to you and say, well, you know, I'm 6 feet tall and I weigh 220 pounds. And then you might come back and say, well, you don't have a lot to lose. If you lose 15 or 20 pounds, you're probably going to be in pretty good shape, as opposed to the other person who comes to you who weighs 340 pounds and is 5'11",
right,
and needs to lose about 100 pounds or so. And there are different ways to lose that weight and to get back on the proper eating diet and eat nutrition foods and stay healthy. So I guess there's a lot of variations in the kind of clients that you deal with.
Yeah, there is, and it's kind of funny though. Almost everybody that calls me on the phone, they always call first. They always tell me they need to lose 40 pounds. When I get there, it's 50 or 60, but they always say 40 on the phone.
Yeah.
But one of the keys is, you know, there's diets out there that help you lose weight, but they're not healthy. They're TV dinner diets that you can eat and lose weight, but at the end of the day, you're not going to eat TV dinners the rest of your life. Or you could do these sort of cabbage soup or other things that help you lose weight. Both fit together, not just being thin, but being thin and healthy. You want to lose weight and stay healthy. That's sort of the key. And then staying on the long term. When you eat real food, you stay on track. Our clients don't lose weight and put it back on, as what happens with many of these other yo-yo diets. Because, again, once you're eating real food, you never go back to those artificial things. You're liberated. Yeah,
and I know one problem that I have personally, Kevin, as my moderator here and as my advisor, you know, health advisor here, is my doctor told me recently that I have too much glucose in my system, which is too much sugar.
Yes.
Sugar rating was up a little bit. And he said, by golly, John, I want you to exercise more and I want you to cut back on sugar and sweet stuff in general, candy and cakes and stuff like that, donuts, which I love, unfortunately. So what I did was I put myself on a self-contained, I used to put 3 and 4 teaspoons of sugar in my coffee every morning with the donut besides, you know, so you can see what kind of trouble I'm in. I cut back to 1 teaspoon of sugar and a couple of these artificial sweeteners like Splenda or Equal and that sort of thing. And I know when I read your book, you're not really too much in favor of these artificial sweeteners. Is there any particular reason why? There's too much chemical involved?
Yeah,
chemically oriented?
There's 2 problems. One of them is the sugar issue, which you
I have a little bit of a sugar problem. I'm trying to bring it down.
And so you do need to bring that down. Exercise will help lower that, and cutting down on sugar is really important. In 1901, we used to eat 5 pounds of sugar per person per year.
1941.
In 1901.
Okay.
And now we eat 135 pounds of sugar per person per year.
Unbelievable.
So our sugar content is through the roof. We really need to just get the sugar content down. And so one of the things people try to do is then use a artificial sweetener to try to keep that sweet thing going. And two problems occur is, one of them, you're eating chemicals. Again, the whole concept, we're human beings, we need to eat food. Chemicals are not the answer.
Eat real food.
Eat food.
Stay away from the chemicals.
Human beings don't eat chemicals. We're not machines. You know, put oil on a machine, put food into your body, real food. And there is no substitute for real food that's sort of God-made. These are man-made substances. They're cheap to make, and they're also harmful. But artificial sweeteners in general, it tricks your body into think you're eating something sweet, so your insulin is still released. So people who are using these artificial sweeteners are still getting overweight, they're still having diabetes, they're still having the problems with their insulin. So in general, you don't want to use sugar and an artificial sweetener. You just want to, you know, cut the sugar down. And you can wean down. Your body will get used to having less sugar if you just maybe cut it down to 3 teaspoons or 2 teaspoons and do it moderately.
I tried one of these supplements a few months ago. I had a problem with what they call a trigger finger, where the joint in my thumb would lock, and I had to almost take my other hand and open it up again, and it would hurt, and it kind of snap it back into place again. I thought, oh my God! So I went to see my doctor. He said, well, we can take care of that. We can give you a couple of needles in your joint, you know, with cortisone, and shoot your joints up with cortisone. I kind of shirked back when he told me that. He said, "Oh, we can have minor surgery. We can open up your thumb and, you know, clean it out, you know, and fix it up." I said, "Really, for a thumb that locks like that?" He called it trigger finger.
Right.
And then somewhere I saw something that said if you take a little tablet of fish oil, And you take that one a day in the morning with a glass of water or juice or whatever. So I said, what the heck? This is going against my doctor's prescription. But I went out and bought a jar of fish oil, and I took one of these little, and for about 6 or 8 weeks I did that. My finger, no more snapping, no more lockjaw, no more trigger finger.
Right.
They went away.
Right.
And then the same thing I had it with my middle finger, and that went away with this little tablet of fish oil.
Right.
So here's a supplement. So, I don't necessarily agree 100% with all the supplements are bad. This was one.
Well, that's a whole food
worked on my
supplement.
behalf.
That is what we talked about, a whole food supplement. Fish oil comes from a food source. It isn't a synthetic multivitamin, but it's a real food source.
Right.
Now, I would personally recommend cod liver oil because it's like fish oil, but it's even better.
Take a teaspoon or a tablespoon or something.
They have capsules
they come
now.
In capsules.
When you were young men, you remember everybody used to take cod liver oil out of that, right?
And we used to hate it too.
Yes.
Mom used to say, "Come on, down the hatch, Johnny. Take your cod liver oil or your whatever it was."
Well, cod liver oil is like fish oil, but even better. And fish oil still has some benefit, which you did discover. A whole food supplement does have a benefit for sure. Then you're obviously missing that in your diet.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe I should eat more fish.
Well, no.
Where fish oil comes
it's
from.
the fat. It actually that everybody's on a low-fat diet, and fish oil puts that fat back in. These are essential fats. Fats are essential to human health, and everybody running around worried about fat, eating low fat, and separating fat from their diet causes all kinds of health maladies. And just putting a little bit of fat, that one little pill of fat, that's a fat pill you're taking.
Yeah.
It helped your body, and that's what happens when we start eating real fat as opposed to fake fat, and eating real sugar as opposed to Splenda. And real food makes a real difference.
So the whole bottom line of this thing is real food, and to stay away from all the imitation and the supplements and the chemical doses and the pills and all the rest of it. And I know that you're a strong proponent of getting in your car on the weekend and going to some of these little small farms around the neighborhood and the countryside.
Yes.
Take a nice ride out to the countryside, breathe the fresh air, get out in the sunshine and get the vitamin D, and go shopping for your vegetables and your fruits at a little farmer's market somewhere out in the highway somewhere, and bring that home and then prepare that and eat that way instead of all this canned stuff and stuff in bottles and packages and what have you, which is all the fake food, the artificial food. That's what I know. And when I read your book, you're a strong proponent of that.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes. Well, I work with an organization, a nonprofit out of Washington called the Weston Price Organization, and they're probably the leading advocate of natural food in America. And one of the things that they're a strong proponent of is real milk or raw milk. They're helping America rediscover this great food. And going to the farm on a Saturday is a very human thing to do with your family. Getting out in the sunshine, just like you say, getting back to the farm. Moses drank milk, and Abraham Lincoln drank milk, and George Washington drank milk, and we were all drinking milk. Now we have pasteurized milk in the supermarkets, but real milk is at the farm, along with real cheese and a lot of these real foods. And it is, instead of going to the mall, instead of going to the supermarket, a very sterile environment, go back to the country every now and then and start trying to rediscover real food. Because if we don't, we see where our country is, it's a mess.
Now, Kevin, I know that we brought along with us a couple of testimonials. And I believe in my control room back there, Ahmed, if you have a couple of those graphics that we can put up, and you might want to comment on these,
Sure.
Kevin. One is of Jamie. There's a picture of Jamie, who what?
Jamie was 15 years old when she came in, 230 pounds and 5'1".
Oh my God.
Which is a really, really big little girl.
And how?
Couldn't get a date to the prom, and no 15-year-old girl should be in that situation. So
Yeah.
she ate the Liberation Diet. She lost 77 pounds. The next year, she now could get a date to the prom. She's a beautiful girl. But when you take 77 pounds off of her, she looks like herself again.
Then we have another one up here, I think, Ahmed. Jenny is another one here.
Jenny is a client of mine that I work with personally, and she's from Hong Kong. But even the people from Asia or foreign countries, when they come to America and start eating our processed food, they start to blow up as well.
Yeah.
But I got her to eat like a tiger on the Liberation Diet, and you can see she looks spectacular. She's about 5'7" and 111 pounds, and she's a model at that point.
I think we have another one, a third one, I believe, Ahmed. Kevin.
This is Kevin Supka. He's a financial planner, and he works for the LPL Financial Corporation. He's a high roller. In fact, that's Tom Brokaw's hand that he's shaking, but I had to cut Tom Brokaw out. But Kevin, and he's going through a lot of stress right now with the financial markets, the way they are changing. But his business got a lot better as he ate better. As you can see the way he was before. When he sits down to meet with a client, he says, well, you're in good shape, you look good, you're able to handle my finances. And so things are going well up until the collapse of just a couple months ago, which that's out of our control.
I just got the 2-minute warning, Kevin. You know what that means when they play the football games. The ref comes out and blows his whistles and says, "You guys got 2 minutes to go and the game is over." We're getting close to the end, Kevin.
Okay.
I just want to thank you very much, by the way, so much for coming down all the way from northern New Jersey, a long trip down by car to be on our program tonight. And certainly wish you a very safe journey back again. And we want to wish you the very best of luck on your wonderful book called, ladies and gentlemen, The Liberation Diet by Kevin Brown, co-authored by Annette Presley, who helped him to write the book from a nutritional standpoint. Because Kevin has his own business. He's a physical trainer. He trains people, gets them back in shape, lifting weights, exercises, whatever it is. Right, Kevin? And we have been putting his website up during the course of our 30-minute program, ladies and gentlemen. Again, www.liberationdiet.com if you want to try to find and purchase his book, which will be all over the country very shortly. In fact, it is right now. We'll be in even more places as we go along. Got to close out the show, folks. Thank you so much for watching our program. Kevin, again, thank you.
Thank you.
For coming down from Jersey to see us on our program on Communicating Today. We always go out, ladies and gentlemen, by saying, keep on communicating for success, for terrific diets and exercise, wonderful books like our author and our guest on our program tonight, Mr. Kevin Brown. Come back and see us again next week, ladies and gentlemen. And again, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.